So let's discuss about the HTML, the web development under the web designing and the web development. The last class I explained about the difference between the web designing and the development. And I told you that the front end is a use, the web designing, the earlier we used that web designing, web development, but currently we are talking we use a term called front end development and the back end development. The front end development means the user interface and the designing part. Actually, earlier days we used the term called web designing. So I told you the HTML and the CSS and some commands from JavaScript also. But the web development, under the web development, we call as a backend development, PHP, JavaScript, and ASP, and so many things. So the last class, we discussed about in detail about the web development and the web designing, front-end development, and the back-end development. So in this advanced level session, we are going to discuss about the HTML, the tags and forms, tables, buttons, text box, and so many stuff. And thereafter, once the HTML and the next section is CSS, a cascade style sheet. So these are the designing part in the A-level syllabus. And thereafter, let's discuss about the MySQL, PHP, and so on. So today's session, let's start with the HTML. HTML means HTML. 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 Hypertext markup language. Okay. Hypertext markup language. So you know that text in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, and Notepad, and etc. So we use the text. We use the text in each and usually in the computer. So the Notepad, Wattpad, and so on. Okay. And hypertext means hypertext. So the hypertext means it can be transferred, it can be shared. So already we learned about the HTTP. Hopefully you learned in grade 10 HTTP, hypertext transfer protocol. The protocol that is used to share that are used to share among the network or among the client, the nodes. So we can share the text. Ek share කරන්න පුළුවන් විදියම තියෙන text එකක් තමයි කියනවා hypertext කියලා. So it was introduced by Tim Berners-Lee in 1990. So and then he started the term called W3C, World Wide Web Consortium. The Worldwide Consortium තමයි මේ standard ඔක්කොම හදනවා. Recently they announced HTML5, that version. So before that, in 24 and 2016, 2015, 2014, I'm not sure exact the year, but on those days, the term we used, that the version we used, HTML4, hypertext markup language 4. But the recently announced HTML5. The HTML5 is capable to handle with the HTML commands and the some are with CSS, and even it's support for the JavaScript commands also. So JavaScript even specially. So the on-click and so on. Okay. So and the recently you can see just go and search about the HTML4 websites or the early days websites. It's not much attractive. It's not attractive. It's attractive now. Okay. But the recently you can find uh, the buttons, the different colors and the different sizes and the different the corners, and so many differences are there. So many differences. They introduced the HTML5 to make some more modifications using the HTML. But those days, the HTML5, just HTML4, especially, they used only to design the layouts. But nowadays, it's more flexible. It's more different colors, different sizes, and there are new text flow introduced in HTML5, and CSS is also supporting and so many. So we will discuss about the CSS later, but don't worry about the CSS. But at the moment, just think about the HTML. Okay. So now we are going to learn about the HTML5. Okay, not HTML4. Okay. Anyway, you learned, I hope you all learned the HTML commands in O level, ordinary level ICT. But anyway, it's my duty to explain all relevant texts in the HTML5. Let's start with the fundamental from the basic commands. Let's start. Okay. So here, the HTML5, oh, so HTML. Here I explained about the text, hypertext. Hypertext na මොනවද ඔයාලට transfer කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක තමයි the HTML HTTP protocols are used to transfer the HTML or communicate with other share the text, images, and so on and so on. But the markup language means it's not a program language. HTML is not a program language. Make a program language, never. Make a markup language. It's a markup language. The markup means you can see there are text we call as angle brackets. So the angle brackets, this is what you call as open text. These are the markups. The second one, closed text. This is called as a closed text. Okay. So in between the commands, the code, we can use within the brackets. In around 80 to 90% of command texts are used to close. We have to close them. But in 10% of commands are there, there is no close text. Okay. But in HTML, we use a certain standards. Let's discuss little by little. Okay. ඒක කොහොමද කියනවා කියලා එක පොඩ්ඩක් එක ඉගෙනගමු. ඒක වෙන let's see that. Now you know what is a tag. Markup language means it's not a program language. The each and every commands encapsulated with the what do you call this angle bracket. Angle bracket එක ඇතුළේ තමයි command එක යනවා. ඒ command එක තමයි කියනවා markups කියලා. Markup. Okay. So this is not a program language. Okay. So the basic stuff. Okay. HTML we call as HTML is a mother tongue of a website. Okay. So then තියෙන ලෝකෙ ගොඩක් එක frameworks ගොඩක් then ඇවිල්ලා තියෙනවා. So there are many different the frameworks introduced in the recently the Java The Python, by using the Python, there are Django and PHP, Laravel, and so many different frameworks they use. React.js, AngularJS, JavaScript, and so now you can understand what is the concept of the HTML. So you know hypertext markup language. The hypertext means can be transferred, can be shared. The markup language means it's encapsulated with the what the angle brackets. There are two kind of angle brackets are there. One is an open text, another one is a closed text. So the open text used to initiate the commands and the closing. So why we are using these encapsulated commands? Why? Because the browser can be easily detected. These are the HTML codes are detected by the browser if there is a encapsulated this angle brackets. So easily it can recognize these are the HTML commands. So the in between that open text and the closed text, that frames must be used these type of a format. So let's discuss one by one. ඒක open tag එකක් තියෙනවා close tag එකක් තියෙනවා ඒක ඇතුලේ තියෙන ඒක in between that the phrase ඒකට මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ what are the formatting options are there is a bold නැත්නම් මේක bullets නැත්නම් any kind of things but I already told that the 80 to 90% text commands are made up with this open tag and the closed tag, but the exceptional items are there. We'll discuss one by one. So this is what you call as HTML is a mother tongue of the websites, but some frameworks are made up with the, especially the React, and these Reacts are working with the, even we use the JavaScript. So inside the JavaScript, most of the time, most of the programs are support for the HTML, inbuilt HTML support frameworks, WordPress, we call as a CMS, content management system, and so on. So now you can simply understand what it is. Let's discuss one by one. So this is what we call as a mother tongue. So any kind of a web languages, web technologies must be support for the HTML. Why? Because this is the main concept. Okay, most there are some exception, but I'm not talking about too much about that. But this is a very the initial stages for you to learn the web development era. Okay, web development concept එක දැන් තමයි ඔයගොල්ලෝ ඉගෙන ගන්න නිසා එක මේක හිතය තියාගන්න මේ HTML තමයි compulsoryම තියෙනවා. HTML is a mother tongue of a website. HTML is mother tongue of a website. Okay. So next, there are some structure. HTML එක structure එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක human medium තමයි. So let's. I'm not a very best artist. මම මේ artist ලොකු artist එකක් නෙවෙයි. Then ඒක පොඩි concept එක මම introduce කරන්න මෙතන බලන්න. You can see that this is the point where the human starting, that human කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්. මේක පල්ලෙහා තියෙන human එක. මෙතන තමයි human එක end. So මේ area එකේ කියනවා head කියලා, මේක head. මේක head close. head එක ඉවර වෙනවා. So මෙතන කියනවා the body කියලා. then මෙතන body එක ඉවර වෙනවා. Okay. So here look at this one. So the same structure මේ වගේම structure එකක් තමයි මේ HTML එක පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා. හරිනේ? Okay. Then you can see that because here this is a human, but in HTML we initiated with the HTML command, and the last command that we use to close the HTML. So in between these area, these are the area in between this HTML open text and the close text. All the command must be inside, to in between the HTML open text and the HTML close. And thereafter, I told you that the head part is there. Let's learn about the head parts later. But at the moment, just to understand about the HTML, only there is only one command is there, title. So මේ title එක දැනට මේක තියාගන්න head එක ඇතුලේ title එක විතර වෙනවා කියලා. දැන් ඊට පස්සේ බලන්න පුළුවන් කොහොමද links අරලා මේ ඔක්කොම. දැන් මේ title කියලා subject එක තියෙනවා something else. I'll explain about that one by one. But the other, all the relevant HTML commands are used to declare within this area. This is the body area. So here, look at this one, exactly what I told you, that here make a KL, as I said, in this area, the HTML is started as a human starting point, human end point. So the in between this starting point to ending point, you can say this is a human being. So in here, the above or below, we can't say that there is the different concept. Okay. So this is a starting point. So the same way in the browser also detecting the each and every commands are there are different concepts are there, but I'm not when a subject එක තියෙනවා දැනට මේක මම කියනවා ඔයාලට මේක HTML එකට වඩා මේ පල්ලෙහාට දාන්න පුළුවන් මේක HTML එදින් මේක අලුත් concepts ගොඩක් තියෙනවා ඔයා මේ HTML open text close text නැතුව you can type in some text editors, okay? So HTML editors, or what you see, what you get. There are different commands that we'll discuss one by one. So almost when you save the item, so I'll explain about that also. So when you save the item, automatically it will be encapsulated with some certain standards. serve කරන වෙලාව automatically framework එක ඇතුලේ ඒක සමහර දේවල් තියෙනවා ඒ නිසා මේ practically ඒක මට explain කරන්න it's little difficult, but anyway මෙතන මේ ඔයා මේ ඉතින් මේක HTML කියලා පටන් ගන්න ඕනේ. You must start with the HTML and it must be that the command must be closed with the HTML close text. In between all the command must be entitled, so you can use that. So head එක පටන් ගන්නවා, head එක ඇතුලේ title විතරයි තියෙනවා දැනට. then title එක close වෙනවා, head එක close වෙනවා, head එකට පස්සේ මේක body part එක පටන් ගන්නවා. හරිනේ? then මේක තමයි HTML, structure of HTML. Okay, please write it down, my dear students, this one. මේ concept එක මේ හරියට මොනවා හරි අඩුපාඩු තියෙන නැත්නම් මේක ඔයාලට මේ clear නැත්නම් පැහැදිලි නැත්නම් please let me give me use some hands or give me a command now, so you can ask anytime. Okay, so try to write down the first HTML hypertext markup language. This is a web development. Actually, we are going to learn about we are learning that with web development. So the first one HTML. So you can say open text, close text. These are the markups. Any question? If you have any other question. Here, the first I told you the HTML is a mother tongue of a browser. So they write down next point. HTML is used to make websites. HTML is used to make websites. HTML is used to make websites. Write down HTML is used to make websites. The next point, you can say that markup is what HTML text. Markup is what HTML text do the text inside them. Markup is what? Markup is what? HTML text. Markup is what? HTML text. Do the text inside them. Inside them. Markup is what? HTML text. Do the text. Do the text inside them. Okay. Okay. Hypertext. Now I told you that markup language, and the next one, hypertext. Hypertext is the method. Hypertext is the method by which you move around. Hypertext is the method by which you move around on the web. Move around the web by clicking on special text called hyperlinks. Which brings you to the next page. Which bring you to the next page.